Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. And today we are going to be playing a flashback draft of Tarkir Dragonstorm, which is the flashback draft format for the week leading up to the launch of the Powered Cube on Arena. That is going to be very exciting, but for here and now, we're going to be playing with some dragons. So without further ado, let's see what we can take here for our pack one, pick one. This is a really good pack here. My favorite way to start off in draft just generally is always whatever the strongest monocolored spell is, which is kind of a tie here between Wingblade Disciple with a great flurry ability, spitting out a bunch of birds, or Molten Exhale for great flexible removal that fits into all the best decks in the set. But there's also a real fun, powerful multicolored spell here with Narset, Jeskai, Waymaster, but I'm going to start nice and safe and just take Molten Exhale. The best two decks in this set by a whole lot are Boros aggro, kind of Mardu aggro decks here, with cards like Mardu Devotee, showing off what that color trio is. And like 5-color control, 5-color big stuff, just play all of the big, balmy uncommons, rares, and mythics, like the Karakik Guardian. And Molten Exhale is really good in both of those strategies, so I do like to take that card super highly. I could take a second copy here, or we can start leaning into one of those two best decks of the format, leaning into 5-color with the Guardian, leaning into Mardu with the Devotee. You know, when in Tarkir, play with the dragons, shall we? Let's grab this Guardian here and see if we can't position ourselves in a good spot to go for the powerful 5-color dragony strategies. This pack here has a lot of good cards for that archetype, the best two being Teeming Dragonstorm, 4 mana for 2/2/2s, great to slow down those Mardu aggro decks and buy you the time you need to get to your big top-end finishers. Or the Dragonstorm Globe, which is obviously perfect mana fixing, giving you one of any color, but it also buffs all of your dragon spells that you're casting at the top of your curve, so these are both very good. The Dragonstorm Globe has some other synergies as well. There is a card that can tutor it out of your deck and put it into your hand, but the Dragonstorm has other synergies where every time you play a dragon, you can then start recasting this again and getting more soldiers. I do really like the Globe though, and with the Globe, we don't necessarily have to be full 5-color like we would with Teeming Dragonstorm, because currently then we'd have to be green, blue, red, and white to play that Teeming Dragonstorm. But the Globe's going to be good even if we stay just pure Teamer here, just green, blue, and red, even though that's somewhat unlikely. Pick number 4, we have a really excellent counterspell here. Dispelling Exhale is great. Very easy to cast. It's 1 and a blue. It doesn't require double blue or anything like that, and it can counter almost anything early in the game. It's counter unless you pay 2 no matter what, but if you've got some dragons in hand, which is quite likely, then it's counter unless they pay 4. It really gets them. Pick 5 Winter Night Stories. This is huge card draw. Draw 3, discard 1. You do have to discard a creature if you want to discard only one card. You get to do that twice. Potentially a draw 6, discard 2. Huge card advantage. This card is really excellent, and blue is actually one of the best core colors for the 5-color decks in the set. It's very easy and instinctual to be like, oh, I'm going to be 5-color, I want green to be the main color, and that's the only way to do it. That is definitely a way to do it in the set. That's a very good way to do it, arguably the best way to do it, but I've actually found that blue is another very solid core color to the splashy decks in the set, because you can play a bunch of card draw, efficient counter spells, and plenty colorless mana fixing like globes and monuments and dual lands to get you there anyway. Here I think we just take the dual land. New Way Forward obviously can be a blowout in the right position, but it's pretty narrow as to having the 5 mana up in that exact position when you want to stop like a bajillion damage and try to draw a bunch of cards. None of these cards are going to be really good in the 5-color deck. Some would be fine, like the Goldkeeper, but if something weird happens and we somehow go to Mardu Devotee is actually excellent. It's a very unassuming card. It really doesn't look like much, but this is genuinely one of the best commons for the aggressive decks in the format. It's a great way to get your curve started on turn 1. Make sure you're putting more power onto the board each turn to start bashing in with. And this is just exactly what you want to be doing turn 1, because you're setting up your draws with that scry. You're making sure you have the perfect mana to cast anything you draw into and play your hand out on curve with the filtering ability. It's just deceptively good. This is a pretty easy Sultai monument, though, for more fixing, and this is the kind of colorless fixing I was talking about. No matter what lands we have on board, we can play this and get one of 3 different colors out of it. Einok Wayfarer would be perfectly fine. Trying to play like blue-green as the core. Our only multicolored card right now being blue-green-red. Sure. Pick 10, Dismal Backwater. Pick 11, Focus the Mind's another great draw spell. 3 mana, draw 3, discard 1. You wonder why Winter Night Stories is so good. When this 3 mana, draw 3, discard 1 is good. You know the double draw 3, discard 1 is great. Some filler stuff that's very likely to get cut now to wrap up the pack. And let's see what we got out of pack 2. Honestly, this pack is not that good all around. Kish the Skimmer can get a lot of cards drawn if you have a bunch of the Harmonize, which is the flashback ability of the set, or Renew, which is an ability where you can exile creatures from your grave to get like counters on the board. We're not really doing any of that currently. We've got 1 flashbacker, but we could build around that a bit. There's also Jungle Hollow for fixing, but I'm just going to take the big turtle here. It's pretty fun. 5 mana, 5/9, so it's a really good blocker that can stabilize the board against non-flying threats. And then it can also attack in, draw you 3 cards when it does. It will stay stunned if you do that, but it's a pretty huge card draw. Pack 2, pick 2. Big fan of Jeskai Shrinekeeper. If you control the board state enough to where you're decently stable, you can drop this out and all of a sudden you are so far ahead in card advantage, drawing a card every single turn this remains, and even if they kill it immediately after they untap, it's still drew you 1 card and kind of 2 for 1 to your opponent. So I really do like the Jeskai Shrinekeeper, and I'm happy to take it here. Pick 3, Disruptive Stormbrood is quite good. It is your cheap removal spell against more aggressive strategies while also being a fine 2 for 1 dragon later. 3/3 flyer, blow up an artifact or enchantment. Flexible card. So the strongest card in this pack by a decent chunk is Rediscover the Way. I don't think that's going to work really well in this deck though. Like, we don't care about the double strike. This is still draw the 2 best cards out of our top 6. Yeah, I guess it works fine. It's not one of those impulse draw spells or anything. Yeah, I'll take a Rediscover the Way. Could be Jeskai at the core. Although a Mammoth Bellow here does make it look more like Teamer at the core again. Or just go raw power level. Revival of the Ancestors, certainly the strongest card here. 6 power and toughness for 4 mana, and then you get a big lifelink swing. Yeah, no, we take Revival. This is Tarkir Dragonstorm in a nutshell, I would say. Take another Dispelling Exhale here. It's just like grab a bunch of super powerful multicolored spells, play a green base or a blue base to your deck, ideally, and just play all the best cards in the draft pod. It's either that or low curve, consistent Boros aggro. Kind of the 2 really powerful options. Obviously, you could end up somewhere else, but those are all kind of the tier 2 decks instead of the tier 1 best decks of the format. Looks like a Piercing Exhale here. This is a fine deck for Boulderborn Dragon. It works well with the Globe. We can cast it no matter what's going on with our mana, which is nice. Not a terrible Teamer Devotee deck either. Slows our opponent down and fixes some of our main colors. But I'll take Boulderborn. Jungle Hollow. Tawnyback is nice. It's relatively consistently castable thanks to the hybrid mana. And it does a little bit of digging, a little bit of card selection with the draw 1, discard 1. Serpent's fine to slow them down. 5 mana, 3/3 plus a bounce. Another Focus the Mind. We are a blue at the core deck, so that's a good one for us. Sure, Sarkhan's Resolve. We can blow up a flyer. Snakeskin Veil can protect something in the late game. Pack 3 is quite the pack. Sig Appraiser for excellent card draw, plus a creature on board to trade off. The Siege is fun, but not that great in this deck, triggering every time you attack. Then the Mystic Monastery for great fixing. I'm gonna go Sig Appraiser. Digging through the deck a little bit also helps fix a little. And the card draw on it is excellent. We'll take Mardu Monument on this. We're still, again, low on fixing. And the big balmy thing is not that balmy, just like a 6 mana, 6/5 flyer. Sorry, 6/7 flyer, but still, just a stat line, no ETB effect or anything great. Paranation's pretty fun. Pretty fun, but not super consistent, especially in a pretty low creature count deck like this with only 9 creatures total, several of which would be really mediocre to Paranation, like a Sig Appraiser. So I'd rather just take Roiling Dragonstorm, which is just consistently excellent. 2 mana, draw 2, discard 1, and then if you recast this even 1 time, it's excellent. But being able to recast it like twice or 3 times off some dragons is ridiculous. Temur Monument, beautiful, give me that fixing. Temur Monument, beautiful, give me that fixing. And these also double up as nice late game creatures to get more chunky blocks going. Here's a Thornwood Falls now. Another Dispelling Exhale is great. Looks like a fine pack for a Swiftwater Cliffs. Again, we have more top end than it looks like because we have all these monuments to sack, particularly the Temurs. Could still use some more removal, so Osseous Exhale on the defensive. 2 mana, deal 5. Blue-white duel is fine. Another dragon is also fine. We've got a good Dragonstorm and a lot of exhales for it. I'll take the Durgar Island Dragon. Fine top-end flyer that doubles as a way to make all of our exhales and Dragonstorms better, and is in our main color. That will be the easiest to hit. So, don't love any of this. Sentinel's a possibility, but not a particularly high one. Same with Snakeskin Veil. Okay, let's cut a few cards and get ourselves a deck here. Blue at the core, cut the most fillery stuff. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 creatures if I cut all these, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4 monuments that sack for creatures. Perfectly fine. Need to cut 2 more cards after all that. I don't hate cutting a Piercing Exhale because of our lower creature count. It's not going to be the most consistent removal. And then also with 4 monuments, even with plenty of stuff to do at 5 or 6 mana, I think I can cut a land with 4 2-mana land cycling monuments. So let's cut 1 land, and then work on our mana base here. So 3 of our 4 monuments are blue, which is wonderful. 3 of them are red. All right, let's see what colors we need now. So we need 14. We have 14 blue cards, and then it's 5, 5, 4, 1. So a ton of blue, pretty much the same of red, green, and white, and then only 1 black spell. So for the 1 black spell, we need at least 1 swamp so we can tutor it off of our Sultai Monument and our Mardu Monument. And we've got that 1 swamp covered. Let's get the next highest up color covered. White, red, and green. All these are pretty equal. So let's get them pretty equal with the mana base, shall we? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 green sources, as well as 3 ways to tutor out the forest. I can't cut lower than 1 of each basic, so it's as low as I can go on green, so that's gonna stay. Red, we have 1, 2, 3 red sources, as well as 3 ways to tutor it out, so 6 ways to get red. That sounds fair enough. And white, we have 4 white sources and 1 way to tutor out. That's basically 5. That sounds good to me. That's pretty even on all of those. We just need to make sure we have enough blue, and if we don't, we'll have to cut a little bit of the red, a little bit of the white, because we can't cut any green or black. So Let's make sure we have enough blue. That is incredibly important with 14 blue cards in the deck. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 natural blue sources, as well as 3 ways to tutor it out. That is 10 blue sources in the deck, essentially. Which is pretty perfect for your primary color. It's like a 10-7 split if I didn't have any fixing. Yeah, actually, pretty much agree with the auto-suggester here. I like it like that. We'll call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how many dragons we get to storm out today. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 1. This is a solid opening hand thanks to the double monument here, one of which is blue, which is super important. Opponent is on a black deck. Got a tapped blue source now. I still think we could use double blue, so I'm going to get another blue anyway. So we can have 5 color without it. Black, green, white, blue, and this Mardu monument for red. Abzan Devotee has arrived. Gotta draw 3, discard 1 this turn as a possibility, discarding the dragon. If I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand, plus 3 is 9, minus 1 is 8. I'll have to discard 2 anyway, so that doesn't feel great right now. Let's just get the Mardu monument for the red source done. And have all 5 colors. Our opponent's also 5-color goop, it looks like. Black-red. This is a black-green-white fixer. I guess there's a chance that they are pure Mardu, which would be a scary matchup for sure, as that is the premier aggro deck of the format. There's the 2 main pillars of the format, really. 5-color mush, which is what we're doing here, and Mardu aggro. There's the 2 really good decks. Everything else falls behind those. And it looks like they are Mardu aggro here. So we will be under some pressure. Okay. We're at 6 mana now. I can just play a 5/5 blocker if I want. Could also go ahead and tap down the Marshal, draw a card, and still have a counterspell up. It's not horrible either. I think I'm just gonna get an elephant. Dragon Spray, fair enough. Hit for 7, we're at 10. We'll draw for turn. Just a land. I gotta do some digging with this Winter Night Stories. Yeah, because I don't have the mana to resolve the dragon and hold up any form of interaction. Another Dispelling Exhale. Okay. Oh, thank goodness for Dispelling Exhale. Take 7, go to 3 if I don't tap here. Oh, Revival's a solid draw. So instead we'll take 3, go to 7. Lands are not solid draws, but we're working on it. Yikes. Haster. Double spell for the flurry trigger. Ping me for 1. That is 3 attacking creatures for the Marshal of the Lost trigger, which would be pretty gnarly. But then we could trade a 1/1 into one of their 2/1s, because they can only buff one of the 2. Yeah, we might just get Mardu'd here. Go to 3. I need to leave a creature on board to get my +1/+1 counters next turn. Draw another land, good lord. Blue and 4. Blue, 1, 2, 3. Tap a 1/1. Drawn to our turtle. Oh my, Sinkhole Surveyor, Bitter Blossom on a stick. Make a creature every single turn. Get the Flurry trigger off of the Sun Pearl Kirin. This might be a no attack turn. Oh, they are going to send. Okay. And I'm dying in the sky. So focus the mind for us. If I don't find something to interact in the sky, I'm dead, so I have to tap out for focus the mind over Storm Shell, and then I probably won't have the mana for whatever I draw. Double flyer to wrap it up on us here. Oof. Yep, these are not gonna do it. Can tap Kirin and counter their other spell. No, I still, if I tap Kirin, it doesn't matter. I die because then they just endure a counter onto Surveyor. Yeah, I die either way. Unless they chump attack with a warrior here. Oh no, I play Backwater to be at 3, and then I tap Surveyor, take 2, go to 1. But if they flurry, I'm dead. Okay. Go to 1. Go to 2 life. I can't attack with this. So I'd go to 2 and then take 2 on the crackback, whichever one I kill with Stormbrood. So we just play that on blocks. I think it's better to kill Surveyor than play a 4/4. I think. We're dead to removal either way. This gives us more legit draws in our deck. Because now we can draw into another removal spell or another dragon, because we shuffled that back in. Devotee. Gain the life means I can attack this turn. Be at 3 and get the card. Or they chomp, and then I don't have to worry about that flyer killing me. Okay. Not a chump, so not great for me, but we're alive. They're playing completely off the top now, and we got a giant turtle on blocks. What a draw! It's literally just a lethal top deck. Pick up a creature from grave, flurry, tap a thing. The creature from grave has haste. What an incredible draw. Alright. Rough start here. But it happens. We got paired against the Mardu deck, which was the worst matchup, and we flooded hard. And they just had the really good top deck in the end game. Might have been able to buy a tiny bit more time. It felt like we were getting close enough at that point. We really only needed like one more turn of breathing room to potentially really flip things. You know, like the Storm Shell attack, draw 3, and then really get a stable board going. You know, if they missed like the Caustic Exile there, if the Shrine Keeper attack went through, that also would have been like the draw towards getting a really stable board. It was obviously life total wise not very close, but it's the kind of matchup where like if we get to that stable board, we can really end up winning the game in only a few turns from there. So a lot closer than it looked. Just a bit too much mana there, a bit too much action for our opponent. 0-1 heading into game 2. Here we are on the play for game number 2. Great opening hand. Tons of colors of mana, not all of them, no red source, but everything else. There you go, Sultai, or sorry, Mardu Monument for red. This hand wants to just get black mana first for the Stormbrood's removal spell. Opponent plays a swamp into Evolving Wilds. For a mountain, gonna be against Mardu all day. This matchup I have to wait here and just hold up the exhales. Yep, sure is the second Mardu deck in a row. Here's an exhale for that thing. And I can Monument hold up an exhale this turn. The turn after this, hold up a Focus the Mind or an exhale. Nightblade Brigade. Not that scary. Oof, Revival of the Ancestors here. Okay. A mana from running that out and holding up the Dispelling Exhale. Let's make sure I have that mana next turn. Tap out 4 mana for a 3/3. Fair enough. 4 mana 3/3. Okay. So now we can cast Revival of the Ancestors and hold up the counter, or we can blow up the Earthcarver or Brigade and hold up the counter. That Earthcarver is only going to get worse and worse for us. Could Wayfarer as well and still have the counter up. Reigning Victor. That's bad enough, I think, to counter here. And now we can just start cracking monuments all over the place and having a bajillion creatures. Winter Night Stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can cast Revival and Stories. Sure. Whatever happens here, we still have a 1/1 left over, so I don't care too much. Trade into their combat tricks or trade one creature into their brigade. Okay, trade into the combat trick is fine. And I do keep one of these still. We get that out of the way, suck up some of their mana on a non-creature card. We got them to put just one +1/+1 counter on the board off this instead of having it later for a super wide board. Have Trample Lifelink next turn, so just get Chungus out. Yeah, I kind of want to just get Chungus out here. I should probably still chill. Another Evolving Wilds. Mobilize and potentially Endure. Just the Mobilize here. I'm just clumping up on combat tricks. Nope, our 1/1 token trades into the 2/1 token producer on our opponent's board. Sure, give her my 4/4. Gross. Double removal it up. They're down to 2 cards in hand now, though. I have so much card draw in here, I could really run out of cards. Star-Eyed Skyrider can jump their stuff into the sky. And their tokens are in the sky. I'm gonna keep the hexproof till I get to send the Guardian in. Drop Shrine Keeper and still have counter unless they pay 4. Counter the trick. Kill the Skyrider, keep both our flyers, draw a card, gain a life. They're down to 1 card in hand. We got 4 in hand and the bigger board. And 2 monuments that we can still sack for a couple 2/2s and a few 1/1s. Now the mobilized tokens have Death Touch. So no blocks there. Rediscover the way it's all card draw, that's the secret. Just give me some chumps so I can attack them in the sky twice and win after that. Zergo's Vanguard is not enough. That is going to be 1 and 1 now. Heading into game number 3. Another solid hand here. Need a red mana for Rediscover the Way, but we have all the mana for Revival of the Ancestors and the Tawny back. We won't be able to play either of these till turn 4, and we're on the draw, so if we're against Mardu aggro 3 times in a row, I'm going to sue Wizards of the Coast, and we'll have problems. Okay, Jeskai is a slightly different flavor, but that Boros aggro core to the deck can remain the same. No spell till turn 3 at least. And it's not a creature. Alright, so they're not that aggressive. Oh, they are just Mardu. They're just playing that as a red-white duel. Or they're like 4 color, 5 color, because they discarded a black spell there. So it might genuinely be triple Mardu in a row. Because you can play these Triumphs if you're playing only 2 of those 3 colors and they're still helpful. So it's looking like Mardu. Yep. Alright, it's Mardu, but they didn't get a creature to the board till turn 4, which is really lucky for us. Revival, and then turn 5 I can play Temur Monument and Rediscover the Way, or Temur Monument and Tawny back. Either way, probably Temur Monument and Tawny back. Because I just need to be blocking in the early game against Mardu. So I go Monument off these 2, and then I have blue, green, pick up the red, play the Tawny back. Detain the Revival, sure. Still got all our 1/1s, so it's still a 2 for 1. Get rid of their Stormplane Detainment and their Reigning Victor, maybe? Alright, get rid of their Stormplane Detainment and slow down. Their Reigning Victor works too. We naturally find the red source. So it's still a 2-drop and a 3-drop. I think it's gotta be Tawny back here. Something that actually impacts the board. I could Dragonstorm instead of Temur Monument now that I already have an untapped 6 land for Guardian. Discard the tap land of Thornwood Falls and pass through. So Guardian on 6, and then on 7 we can go Monument plus Storm Shell. War Effort is spooky. And there's Mardu Devotee. This is definitely full-on Mardu again. Will this be the first game we draw our green dragon that blows up an artifact or enchantment when they have an artifact or enchantment on board? Be pretty sick on this board state. They drop a Kin Guard and a token. They have 3 cards left in their hand. And then play Salt Road Pack Beast and draw a card. Dispelling Exhale is the draw. I would love to cast something to hold that up, but I can't play the turtle and hold that up. Rediscover the Way, hold it up. Grab a Shrine Keeper for later. I haven't played a land this turn, so I can play Monument as well. Essentially 2 hits from dead because the hasting flyer of the Shrine Keeper can go in alongside Guardian. Kind of unless they pay 4 on that. I think that is threatening enough. They pass through. Osseous Exhale is a really good draw. Plus a Dispelling Exhale, so we can hold up either or. Oh, I guess I had to tap out a white for Shrine Keeper, though. They are at 5 life, playing off the top here. But we are tapped out, since we did have to counter their removal spell. And they hit a Kin Tree Nurturer. That is not going to be enough, and that should be 2 and 1 for the Dragonstorm. Yep, just flunge it in, send a message. Sure. And there's the concession from our opponent. 2 and 1, heading into game number 4. Alright, here we are on the draw this time for game number 4. We have great mana here, like usual. But we could be under a lot of pressure. If it's anything like the other 3 games in a row, we'll play against Mardu. Good old Tarkir Dragonstorm. The funny thing is, it could also be the other way around, right? We could just be playing against 5 color every single round. But I feel like that's just how Mardu plays. Or sorry, how Tarkir Dragonstorm plays. You're just going to play against the same deck the whole draft. Oh, we actually can't get the white mana in this hand. Okay, that's worse than I thought. Dragonstorm can dig for it, though. These monuments can't. All of our other spells are white, so we need to Dragonstorm here to dig. I think this is still a keep, but kind of barely a keep instead of definitely a keep, like I was saying. Especially on the draw. But hey, there we are. There's the white source. So let's go. At least we've been playing against slow Mardu. If we were playing against like really good Mardu, we would just be dead. Like this game and last game, they didn't get like a creature onto the board till like turn 4. So pretty lucky our opponents have had slow draws. Oh god, Corey Steelcutter though? So we're gonna get 2 creatures off that one spell, each of which are gonna haste in for damage. I can lock in the Stormbrood as the play next turn. So I get a 3/3 blocker and blow up the Steelcutter itself. So I think that is the play. We play an Appraiser now to threaten to kill the first, like, 2/2. I drew too many cards. That's funny. Well, I need to play untap land 5, drop next turn. Get rid of the flashback spell. No flurry? Ayo, no flurry for Corey Steelcutter. We take those. And we just take 2. They don't have the prowess for it either. Awesome. Here's a flying blocker for your flyer. And removal for your Steelcutter. For a second I thought I was going to have to discard a card again, but I played 2 cards and drew 1. I played a land, I played a spell, I picked up 1 Dragonstorm, so that's fine. Oh, Jesus. Good lord. Yeah, that's a pretty good static snare. Pretty good one. Go to 9. Okay. Get 3 1/1s on the ground here, I guess. Probably the best we have. It's not looking great. They had a slow start, but a very explosive finish. Yep, that's pretty good. Yes, slightly incorrect sequencing, but still. They could hit for 1 more damage if they just waited to activate. No reason not to, since I'm tapped out, and that is instant speed. Fairly sure we're dead here. Two 2/2s on the ground, but then they just buff that and hit me for 4 in the sky. Or I play the 1 flyer, I have to chump that. Block there, still take 5 on the ground elsewhere. Yeah, we're just slightly too slow here. If we had like 1 more turn, maybe a little bit of lifelink could do something, but still probably not. That was just super explosive, having the Steelcutter, Stalwart, Flurry stuff. The static snare was beautiful. They got to spend a bunch of mana expanding the board and just 1 to clear out our 5-drop in the same turn. Okay, well, we're 2-2. I mean, we've been playing against the worst matchup literally every single game, so let's see. Maybe game 5 we'll play against something other than Mardu. This is a pretty awkward opening hand. We are on the draw yet again. We can Monument into the green, though. Monument into the green for Wayfarer, then play it to get the blue, or just Monument into the blue immediately and play like Appraiser and Dragonstorm, all this card draw towards the green. So, it's a bit awkward, but with the Sultai Monument, it is perfectly keepable. We finally did it. We dodged Mardu. It's a 5-color mirror match, hopefully. I think we actually have a solid shot in the mirror match because we have a bunch of counter spells, which are really nice in the 5-color mirror. They could be like Obs on aggro, which is a possibility. Definitely nowhere near as popular as like the 5-color green or the aggressive Mardu, but it would be possible, and that could be scary. And of course, being on the draw here instead of on the play is going to make it harder to have that exhale up at the right time because we're a mana behind at all points. They are obs on, at least. Oh god, the 3-mana 4/2 trample. Okay. They don't have removal for Appraiser. We trade into a 4/2 and get a creature on board in the same turn, and then I can double exhale the turn after this. I don't have the black source yet, nor the green source, but this has a flashback ability. And I can do some drawing. Great work from Appraiser. It held off the 4/2 Trampler for at least a turn here. There's the flyer. Pretty nice turn for us. We're still down to 12, which is definitely something, but cleared out a good portion of their board. Amazon Monument, get a land. That can make at least a 3/3 in the future. Makes a creature power and toughness equal to the highest toughness they have on board. Missed a land draw. Rediscover the way. Hope to hit a forest or an island here. We do pretty desperately need the land, so we'll do the dig 3 towards it. Forest or island is great. Anything else we'll begrudgingly take, like a plains. It's actually super awkward. Yeah, that was a pretty big miss. I would take basically any other land in the whole deck over that. Any of our tap lands, blue sources or green sources. Or our swamp would be fine there too. I think we're dead because we didn't have the exhale up for this Vanguard now. There's no removal in this hand. No removal in the top. 3. Could play a single Dispelling Exhale or a single Shrine Keeper. This is 9 damage on the swing. 10 if they activate the champion. So I can't... I mean, I guess I could still play Shrine Keeper and attack. They hit... I go to 11 and then they hit for 10. Is that the best play? That is awkward. Still. That might genuinely be our best play. Because the other option is like, draw 2, discard 1, and play this, and then I'm at 10 and then I take 10. Because this hits for 7, this hits for 2, and this hits for an extra 1. So it's either go to 11 and take 10, or it's like play the Shrine Keeper as a chump blocker. I guess I go to 12 here technically, but you get the gist. Pretty sure that's game. Champion can give Trample, which will finish us off here, even if we play all the Chumpers in the world. Yeah, that would be kind of like our one out here. Would be making a million Chumpers. But the Trample's gonna get us off Champion. If I had one more mana, I could Revival for three Chumpers and also tap whatever they give Trample to. Is there anything I can do instead? I could play one blocker and tap whatever they give Trample to. Which, if they give Trample to the wrong creature, could survive barely. I think that's our only potentially surviving line here. Just get on tap mana now that I have a globe. Alright, they played it right. And now tapping one creature, I'm still dead. Tap this, block that, take 5. 2 and 3. I think this deck was better than that on average, but the matchups that we got into were kind of absurd, playing against 5 Mardu decks in a row when that is like the one deck we really don't want to see. Sorry, 4 Mardu decks in a row. 1 Obzon deck in the end. I think the Obzon deck was fine. If we never missed a land draw there, we probably would have got them in the end, but we had some mana issues there, which is fair enough in these 5-color decks. You're going to have mana issues come up at some point, so our 1 mana issue loss was against that Obzon deck. I think had we had more consistent mana to be able to, just hold up an exile or a draw spell instead of having to run out monuments or draw spells at sorcery speed, we could have had the counterspell at the right time for that 5/4 and stuff like that. That would have bought us more than enough time to get to the Shrine Keeper swings and Revival and stuff to win us the game there. So that last loss was mainly just mana issue stuff, which you do expect to see at some point, even with a really good 5-color mana base like this one. 4 monuments, a globe, 5 duels. This was not a sketchy mana base at all, but it is still a 5-color mana base. You are still going to get a loss at some point to the mana base usually. And that's what that final loss was. But the other losses, we played against the worst matchup in the whole set 4 times in a row. So there's not a lot you can do about that. I would have liked to see how this deck fared against other 5-color mush piles. I think it would have done quite well, because I think the blue-based 5-color decks are very favored against the green-based 5-color decks, because Dispelling Exhale is so good in that kind of matchup. Right, like after they fix all our mana and set everything up and get to the point where they start trying to resolve cards like Guardian, they just go Guardian, you go nope. Or they cast their big mythic, you go nope. And just win by card advantage over time. So I would have really liked to see this play against some 5-color decks, and sadly it didn't. So we not once did we play against our best matchup, but we played against our worst matchup 4 times, and we got a record to show that. At 2 and 3 here. A bit of a bummer for the return to Tarkir Dragonstorm, not starting off with a bang or anything. A 2-3 below average run, start off with a whimper, but I think the deck was still pretty cool. The deck was still pretty decent. Certainly could have used a bit more interaction. That would have helped us out in our worst matchup, which we ended up playing against 4 times in a row. Could have definitely used more removal spells. But outside of that, the fixing was excellent. We had enough high power stuff to end the game, even if it was a little bit low on that front as well. That's a little bit harder to control, right? You can't control when you get all of the really good rares like Revival and stuff. We just got kind of the one. Rediscover's just kind of draw a spell, not really a finisher. So that's another thing that could improve this deck, right? We get some random big mythic rare dragon, and all of a sudden, boom, all right, we got even more good finishers. But that I'm less concerned of as something we could have changed during the draft. What we could have probably changed during the draft was having more interaction as the biggest thing we could have done during the drafting process, have more removal against those quicker decks. But it is what it is. 2 and 3 to start off the Tarkir Dragonstorm flashback drafts. That means nowhere to go from up, but from here, I guess technically we could have won 3, but that is highly unlikely. I shouldn't put that evil on myself, but I'm still going to say the only place we can go from here is up. Anyways, that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more and recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.